Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk with Tessa, where we dive deep into the exciting world of digital transformation, e-invoicing, and all things tech. Today, we're putting the spotlight on a critical aspect of the PEPL network, specifically how Corner 3 can ensure that Corner 2 has validated an invoice before it gets sent out to either Corner 3 or Corner 5. Now, if you're just tuning in, let's set the scene. We're working within the framework of the UAE's e-invoicing regulations, which mandates that all accredited service providers or ASPs conform to PEPL standards. And folks, that means validating that all invoices meet the UAE Standard Data Document, or DD, before they even leave the originating corner, whether it's Corner 2 or 3. So how do we ensure that all of this validation happens smoothly? First off, let's clear the air on the architecture of our PEPL network. We've got our corners, Corner 2, Corner 3, and the newer edition, Corner 5. Each one of these plays a vital role in the processing and validation of invoices. When Corner 2 processes an invoice, it performs schematron validation, essentially a rigorous check to ensure that the document meets all technical requirements. If it passes that test, it can then be sent to Corner 3, which does another layer of validation before the invoice reaches either Corner 3 or the all-important Corner 5 for further processing. Now, it's important to note that the FTA, or the Federal Tax Authority, will be sitting at its post, ready to validate all incoming data from our ASPs. Picture them as a vigilant gatekeeper. If there's any inconsistency or hiccup in that data, the FTA can reject those invoices. That's why Corner 2 and Corner 3 need to be extra diligent in their validations, essentially double-checking their work before moving things forward. If all goes well and the invoices get the green light, what's the next step? Well, that's where the near real-time validation at Corner 5 comes into play. Corner 5 will have the capability to perform similar validation checks, but on a grand scale, making it crucial that any invoice that passes through here has already been vetted properly by the previous corners. We definitely don't want a bottleneck happening at Corner 5 after all the hard work done upstream. This collaboration between the corners is not just about data. It's about ensuring a smooth, seamless process. If any issues do occur, a rejection message gets quickly sent back to Corner 2 or Corner 3, allowing for swift corrective action. So, if you're a buyer waiting for the all clear on an invoice presented to Corner 4, you might have one final say based on commercial reasons. But keep in mind, any technical rejections earlier in the process are solely based on those critical validations. That's right. Commercial differentiation doesn't play into the technical aesthetics of schematron checks. And let's not forget about batch processing. Yes, folks, batch processing will be supported, meaning multiple invoices can be validated simultaneously to keep things moving at a brisk pace. In summary, communication and seamless verification between the corners is essential for the successful e-invoicing experience in the UAE. That's where our discussion leads us next. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into compliance, updates from the architecture document expected to drop soon, and all the latest business terms from the PINT-AE testbeds. You won't want to miss this. Welcome back to our podcast, where we're diving deeper into the world of electronic invoicing and accreditation procedures in the UAE. In our last episode, we touched on the essential role of validation in the invoicing process, and today we're going to explore how Corner 3 can ensure that Corner 2 has thoroughly validated an invoice before it ever reaches them, or even Corner 5. Now picture this. You've got invoices flying around about systems that need to communicate flawlessly, and we certainly don't want to drop the ball on compliance. It's like a carefully choreographed dance, but instead of dancers, we have data points. And trust me, no one wants the data to trip over its own feet. Firstly, Corner 3's assurance begins with its close interaction with Corner 2. Before any invoice is sent to Corner 3, it's crucial for Corner 2 to confirm that their validation processes have been completed successfully. As we know, the PEPL network is all about ensuring that service providers comply with established standards. This is your foundation. So, how do we build that trust? It all starts with rigorous checks and balances. Think of it as a fail-safe mechanism. Now we know Corner 5 has launched with a PEPL access point, integrating with central data platform, but what happens during that transitional period? If Corner 2 and Corner 3 are both performing their individual schematron validation and complications arise, they need to communicate back to each other. A clear messaging system must be in place for any failed validations. If Corner 3 doesn't receive a passed message from Corner 2, they're not going to move forward. Simple as that. It's also important to remember that any issues that crop up in the invoice won't magically resolve themselves. This is why the architecture document that's set to be published shortly is so pivotal. It'll detail the plugins and mechanisms that ensure validation flows seamlessly, while Corner 5 simplifies data reporting to the Federal Tax Authority, making it cleaner and more efficient. And let's not overlook the concern about processing speed. We've all seen bottlenecks at various stages, like waiting in line at the grocery store but with invoices instead of groceries. Thankfully, with the near real-time validation protocols at Corner 5, the chances of congestion should be minimized. Still, vigilant oversight is required throughout the process to make sure we keep things flowing swiftly. What about the buyer's power to reject an invoice? It's a bit of a slippery slope. While they have the option to reject for commercial reasons at Corner 4, technical rejections at earlier corners are strictly about compliance validation. That distinction is key here. Now make sure your batch processing is scalable because we'll be supporting that too. Think of it as preparing for a big feast. You need to have the capacity to serve all the guests, right? Before we wrap, let's touch on the Decentralized Service Metadata Publisher model the UAE is adopting. It's going to add layers of nuance in how service providers navigate their obligations. They'll need to be mindful of both PEPL standards and UAE-specific configurations for messages, especially as those MLS specifications come to life. Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the intricacies of this invoicing ecosystem. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to check out our show notes for resources to keep you informed and ahead of the curve. Podcast outro. Welcome back to our podcast series on optimizing the invoicing process through PEPL standards. In this episode, we're diving deeper into the validation workflow between Corner 2, Corner 3, and Corner 5, focusing specifically on how we can ensure that invoices are accurately validated before they reach Corner 3 or Corner 5. So let's set the stage. You have Corner 2 and Corner 3 actively working as your validation checkpoints, and both play crucial roles in ensuring that the invoices conform to UAE standards. Now, it's crucial for Corner 3 to receive only those invoices that have been validated and approved by Corner 2 first. Why is this so important? Well, as we discussed in previous episodes, any inaccuracies or errors in the invoices could lead to delays or rejections further along the line, not just at Corner 3, but possibly even impacting Corner 5's capabilities for reporting compliance to the FTA. To make sure that Corner 2 validates an invoice effectively, it needs to be equipped with the appropriate checks. This is where the schematron validation comes into play. Corner 2 will conduct these validations, which essentially act like a gatekeeper for ensuring that the data document meets the stringent PEPL standards. Once an invoice passes through this rigorous checkpoint, it can then be shared with Corner 3, where additional checks might take place. Here, Corner 3 can also enforce its own validations. Think of it as a double-check system, reinforcing the quality of the transaction data before it feels the warm embrace of Corner 5, where data will be further consolidated and reported to the FTA. And here's a fun twist. Even after these validations, the buyers still have the option to reject the invoice at Corner 4 based on commercial reasons. This means that while technical validations at Corner 2, Corner 3, and Corner 5 are based strictly on data correctness, the buyer retains the ability to make decisions based on the business context. It's a clever way of ensuring that technical compliance doesn't overshadow practical business needs. Now, let's talk speed. How quickly can Corner 5 validate these invoices based on the volume of transactions? With the decentralized model we're operating under, there's always a concern about whether Corner 5 could become a bottleneck. But fear not. We're building Corner 5 with tech similar to that of Corner 2 and Corner 3, focusing on near real-time validation. which means transactions can be analyzed quickly, providing immediate feedback on their validation status. As with any new process, standards are key. For our UAE service providers, the unique MLS specifications for invoices are currently being finalized. Providers will want to pay close attention to these guidelines, ensuring they align their operations with the latest requirements as soon as they are officially communicated. And for those curious minds wanting more detail on the new business terms emerging from the PINT-AE testbeds, don't forget to check out the latest version available at the PEPL Documentation Hub. It's a treasure trove of information for anyone invested in elevating their invoicing practices. In the coming weeks, we'll see the architecture document being published, which will clarify many of these processes further, solidifying our understanding as we implement these standards. So keep your ears tuned. Up next, we'll tackle how these validations can work in practice with real-world scenarios. Until then, stay innovative and keep those invoices flowing effectively.